An op-ed in the Telegram this week caught my attention. Alison Dyer was writing for the paper about the gung-ho nature of mega green projects and perhaps how they're not really that much better than other run-of-the-mill mega projects. So what's her solution? Alison Dyer is with me on the line today for On the Go. Alison is a coordinator with EnviroWatch NL. They're a group that claims to be for a voice for the lands and waters of Newfoundland and Labrador. Alison Dyer, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Russell?
I'm doing just fine. Tell me about the letter you wrote for the Telegram earlier this week. What prompted you to express yourself?
The future needs to be lean, not just green. It was a letter coming from wearing my hat as the coordinator of the EnviroWatch NL's Wind Energy Hydrogen Working Group, a new provincial organization, and we're concerned with environmental issues that affect the land and waters in our communities. And so, of course, the wind energy and hydrogen is one of them. We have several working groups. It's something that we've been working on for a while, developing our position statement on the government's wind energy hydrogen industry. And basically, we have identified a number of problems, both with, of local and global concern,
right.
and then have identified several working solutions. So this was basically to get it out there because I don't think I know a lot of people in the province just don't have the information. They hear green growth, they hear green transition, and it all sounds wonderful and we should be doing it. And while we agree absolutely that we have to get off fossil fuels, that we need to be transitioning to renewables, the way the government is going about it is not the way.
Just to back up here for 1 second. The province's wind hydrogen industry. What wind hydrogen industry? Would you be blamed for thinking that a lot of this is still theoretical, isn't it? I mean, nothing is actually in production making hydrogen in this province yet?
Absolutely, and I guess that's part of the problem is the haste, not the speed, the haste at which the government is being pushing this and being pushed by certain corporations, one in particular. No, nothing is on the ground, but yes and no. I mean, they have put, I think it's like 15% of our lands up for bids in advance of maybe securing any of those to protect them. They're putting them up for industrial development. They've gone ahead and permitted some of them to put up wind met towers to determine, wind speeds, I guess, and placement, being this incredible rush to buy, ports, secure the Port of Argentia, secure the one in Stephenville. People are rushing in there to do public consultation. So no, we don't have an industry at the moment, but government would have us believe that it will be the silver bullet.
We're not exactly in this province at the epicenter of innovation in green technology. So why is it unrealistic to think we will be a staging ground for a lot of technology to move forward, or having minerals extracted for future technology? Maybe we are going to be bit players in a global movement. Why is that unrealistic to expect, do you think?
I guess the question more is why the scale and why the options? I think that might be a better question. Why this huge mega scale and the option of ammonia? Mega scales, as we know, I mean, goodness, we're hardly out of dealing with one complete bust of a mega scale with muskrat. And here they are without all the information, obviously, going gung-ho into another one that, so the technology for the Haber-Bosch, and the electrolysis, yes, there's the technology. But not only that, a slight aside, I'm just reading now in the EIS, the Environmental Impact Assessment from WEGH2, they propose to have the hydrogen plant in Stephenville up and running in advance of the turbines being done, and therefore they will need electricity. The scale, the complexity approach is a little bit mind-boggling when you realize that, so much has not been thought through But still, the government seems to be listening to corporate players, and let's rush into it. So one is the mega scale. Why the mega scale? And the other thing is then the option. I mean, my goodness, we are looking at taking this renewable energy, extracting hydrogen, which will then be processed into ammonia that will be shipped long distance in, for sure, diesel-powered carriers to Europe to use in as ammonia in fertilizer by conventional industrial farms in Germany, at which point we will be at a 20% efficiency. There is no way that's going to make a dent into any climate change mitigation. When you look at how much energy is lost and how much energy it will take to get these turbines going, to get all the components, we will be losing carbon sinks in our forests. The whole equation just does not look right at all. So, yeah, the question, why mega and why that option? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, the science writer, Bob McDonald, and, of course, broadcaster with Quirks and Quarks, he wrote a book last year talking about how wind and solar could be a great option for small communities. What do you think for a place like Newfoundland and Labrador is a way forward? What kind of changes do you think we need to see within society to lessen our demand for all this energy?
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, just on one small thing, you know, like there's people like Nick Mercer who's been working on a pilot project, small scale wind energy community projects. And I mean, that's something we definitely could and should be looking at. So we don't have these foreign entities, these, you know, big billionaire corporations coming in and taking the land and taking the fresh water. Let's put it back into the hands of the communities, smaller pilot projects. We need some rigorous campaigns for reducing consumption, right? We really need to dial down our energy consumption. I mean, that's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
But that is something definitely the government can and should be doing. Because get back to the wind energy, and a lot of people, I think, do not realize this, that the green energy sounds good, but the amount of minerals that will be required, you know, rare earth elements and minerals that would be required for all the electrification, for all batteries, planet does not have it. Academics, researchers have been looking into this, have been mapping this, have been scaling this for some time now, and the information is getting out there, but it's not getting to our governments because they're listening to certain corporations, I guess. We could mine the hell out of the planet, you know, as we already are doing in the Amazon, certain parts of Africa. We will never have the amount of minerals and these rare earth elements that is required for a complete green global transition, not on this scale. It has to be, you know, like Schumacher and those guys, I hate to say it back in the 70s, but they were right. You know, it's got to be locally appropriate, local development. It's got to be on a small scale.
Yeah.
Everyone goes to ferry. We need jobs. We don't have an environment. We don't have jobs. We're past that. You know, it's old hat talking about one or the other. And we need to consider that. So, you know, reducing energy consumption and just consumption on all goods too. We're just not talking about energy, but there's, you know, the whole, you know, everything one buys and uses energy.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it's a big ask, you know, to make those changes. But as you say, maybe we'll be forced to make these changes as opposed to choosing. Alison, thank you so much for sharing some of your thoughts with us today. I must remind people that Alison had an op-ed in the Telegram this week. You can find it through their website, saltwire.com. Alison Dyer, coordinator with the EnviroWatch NL. That's EnviroWatch NL. You can find out more about them through their website. And Alison, thank you so much for sharing your passion and your thoughts with us today on the go. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Russell. Nice to speak with you.